Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagahas. And in this video, we got ourselves a nice little comic book haul. Ooh, got some good deals. This past weekend. Went to a local comic book con. Spent about $250 on all of these keys. And very, very excited to share them with you guys here today. Talk a little bit about the books. Talk a little bit about how now feels like the time to pick up a lot of these types of keys. And I'll explain what I mean later on in the video. But before I get into it, if you guys could drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel, doing those things, I'd appreciate it. But let's get into this video here today. Now, of course, I gotta go through the books, talk about each one, and the first one is probably tied for the best book that I picked up. Tied for. Depends on how you guys feel about these characters. But the first one I picked up is actually an Avengers #9 first appearance of Wonder Man. Now you see the price tag right there was $120, but I was actually able to get this at a good deal for only $100. $100 for the first appearance of Wonder Man. Very, very nice looking copy. Grades out to be about a 4.5, maybe a 5.0. Yeah, could get a 5.0 or so, depending. But a really, really nice presenting copy. It's very, very nice colors. This is actually a little bit nicer looking than the copy I already owned, which made it a no-brainer for me to pick it up because obviously I can keep this one and move on with my old one because the price was so competitive. And this is the perfect example of kind of where I feel like we are in the current state of the market, where buying books like this, buying keys like this, there's never been a better time. You know, and what I mean by keys like this is it's like, this is, you know, a Silver Age key that's like not really a grail. There's not too many people that, you know, love Wonder Man. You know, obviously trying to pick up an AF-15, even in this market, is still very, very difficult. Trying to pick up, you know, a Journey into Mystery 83 is still difficult in this market, and X-Men 1. But there's a lot of great Silver and Bronze Age books that the market is not thinking about. And especially if you're watching those auctions and looking at books like this, you know, at local Comic Cons, which, by the way, the local Comic Con I went to was 626 Comic Con. So shout out to them for having such a great event. But these are the types of books right now that in this market, like, you know, everyone is overlooking this stuff. And again, say what you will about the MCU. I still have the feeling that by the time we roll around to the Wonder Man show, you know, what is that going to be? 2024, 2025, people are going to be excited once again. The market is going to be moving once again. And I think books like this could do very, very well. Now, granted, that's not to say that that book is going to take me to the moon. I mean, like I've said before, you know, how many Wonder Man fans are there really? How many Wonder Man holders are there actually out there in the market? But being that my entry point into that book is only $100 makes it a no-brainer purchase for me regardless. Now, this next book I got actually relates to this one. I feel like I should talk to them together, but I was actually able to find Avengers 52, first appearance of the Grim Reaper. In case you guys don't know, Grim Reaper and Wonder Man are brothers. And I actually do think that it has been confirmed that the Grim Reaper is going to be showing up in the Wonder Man TV show as well. Now, this one I was able to get for $10. Definitely a lower grade, probably a 3.0, maybe a 3.5, something like that. But, you know, presents pretty decently. And for $10, again, you know, the entry point, you can't argue with it. Now, of course, a couple of months ago when the casting was confirmed for that character, that book was definitely going up in the market. But now, you know, everyone has already moved on. Everybody, you know, is not thinking about Grim Reaper anymore. And, you know, if you can find yourself at these local cons, there are a lot of deals to be had on these types of books. But I realize that not everybody has the ability to make it out to local cons, but don't despair. There are still a lot of great online places to buy comics from, like the sponsor of our video, Torpedo Comics. Now, for those who don't know, Torpedo Comics is one of the best comic stores in the country. They are based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but have locations in the Southern California area as well. But they have this online store, torpedocomics.com, where you can buy great things like mystery boxes, raw comics, slabs, and even trading cards if you're into that sort of thing. Their online store is really easy to navigate, and I can use these handy search features over here to find what I'm looking for. If I sort by big money, I can look at all of the big money keys to figure out which of these books are maybe flying under the radar in this current comic book market. And the best part about torpedocomics.com is if you use my promo code SWAGOHAS, which you'll see in the description, you'll be able to save 10% off on your order. What's not to love about that? I want to say thank you to Torpedo Comics for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into the comic book haul. All right, the next book I was able to pick up for myself is another book that I feel like has completely flown under the radar, a book that has fallen off tremendously, but I feel like we're not done with this character. Of course, the book I'm talking about is Strange Tales number 158, first full appearance of the Living Tribunal. Now, of course, this was a book that was going absolutely bananas early in 2022 when we had the, I guess, third or fourth Easter egg of the Living Tribunal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they had him in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. And this was definitely a book that the market was completely eyeing. Now, of course, like all things do, out of sight, out of mind. But in my opinion, I feel like we're not done with this character. I think that there will probably be a moment at some point in the future where, Doctor Strange has some interaction with the Living Tribunal. I've always felt like the Living Tribunal is a very, very cool character regardless. I actually really, really love this cover. This is a pretty nice copy, about probably a fine, maybe a 6.0 or so. Got this one for $20, not a bad price if you ask me, and was happy to pick it up. Another book that I think is a good example of how now is the time to pick up those types of books, if you can find them on the cheap. Another book right here, which, I don't necessarily know if this book is really ever going to bounce back, but this one right here is Defenders number 18, first full appearance of the Wrecking Crew. You know me. I love the Wrecking Crew. I love these guys. Every time I see this book, I can't help myself. I can't help but pick it up. And this right here is a book that, again, has also fallen off in the market. Of course, we got the Wrecking Crew in the She-Hulk. Not my Wrecking Crew. Definitely not the version of this team I feel like we should have got. But, the portrayal of the team in the She-Hulk show does not ruin my love for these guys right here. Defenders 18, I think I got this one for either $5 or $10. Again, it was like a whole bin of just $5 and $10 books. And, the guy even gave me a discount on top of all the ones that I got. So very cool to find this one. Probably, I would say that I didn't really inspect it. Probably like a 7.0, maybe an 8.0 type of range for that one. So really excited to find that in a bin. And again, there's still a lot of those types of books out there, and people still love, the Wrecking Crew. All right, this next one is one that brings a smile to my face every time I see it. A book, I already have another copy of it, but I decided to pick this one up because the price was so cheap. Probably the second coolest book that I got for myself. This one right here is Journey into Mystery, number 103, first appearance of Enchantress and Executioner. I love the Enchantress. I think she's one of the coolest Marvel villains out there in the entire Marvel universe. Very, very underused, very, very underutilized. And I suppose we have some version of her in Loki, although not really. Another book that has really, really dropped off. One that I think is very similar to that of the first appearance of Wonder Man. You have these books that are, in that 1964 window, still key books, still desired, but probably never ones that are going to, go up to that next tier of like ASM 1 or TOS 39 or things like that. But still a cool book. This is one that I got for $100. Presents really, really nicely. Probably grades out to be about a 3.0 or 3.5, I would guess. But great colors. I mean, actually, this copy right here actually has nicer colors than the 7.0 that I have behind me. It's just slightly more saturated, which is, I think that's always something that's kind of interesting. There's just a little bit of staining on the back and some, color breaks and things like that. But for $100, I felt like, you can't go wrong with some of these sort of silver keys at this level. I mean, there's going to be a time when the sun shines on that book once again. And I think that there will be a lot of equity to be had in a lot of those types of keys. All right, this next book right here is one that I kind of picked up, one, because I love the cover, but two, because of, somewhat of spec reasons. But this one right here is Captain America, number 107. Got this one for $10. This is actually the first appearance of Dr. Faustus. Now, if you are somebody out there who played Marvel's Midnight Suns, you would know Dr. Faustus was in that game. Dr. Faustus, obviously one of the head scientists for the Hydra organization, and feels like a character that could, be utilized in the MCU. Now, he was involved in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Agent Carter. Oh, no. Yeah, Agent Carter. That show, if you happen to see it, although I don't know if that is still in canon to the rest of the MCU, so maybe they can bring back this character. One of the other cool things about this book was that I actually noticed that it had some signatures there, but I haven't been able to really make it out. Let me know if you guys can figure this out. It looked to me like it says, Star Marvel, yours truly, your friend, and then something there. Haven't been able to figure out who signed this right here, but it does look like a creator signature of some kind. But no, for $10, still worth it in my opinion. Obviously, I was digging through the Captain America section, and I picked up this book too, another book that I just think nothing special about this one, not necessarily a key, but one of the all-time great early Captain America covers. I mean, just the badass cosmic cube Red Skull cover right there. This is just one that I always love. It always stands out to me. Probably never a book that's going to go to the moon, but an interesting book, again, to talk about, because it's books like these, I feel like they didn't get tremendously overinflated in the comic book market, yet the floor values for them are still pretty strong overall. So when you are out there digging and you find a book like that for $5, $10, whatever the case is, like you'll notice if you go onto eBay, they all still sell around that $20, $30, $40 range. So, you can find really good opportunities for books that are not keys, but ones that a lot of collectors just appreciate the art and the cover for those ones there. All right, last couple of books right here. This is one that I feel like every time I see it, I get very, very excited because I think it's really, really an underrated book. This one is Iron Fist number 12. This is actually the first meeting of Iron Fist and Captain America. Very, very cool book, very, very cool cover, which, again, I think a lot of people pick this one up for the cover, but it actually is a little bit of a minor key, being that it is their first meeting. I can confirm this by actually having read the story. So I think that this is a really cool book and kind of a sneaky one, in the Iron Fist bins. Obviously, everyone picks up 14, everyone picks up issue number 1. I feel like this is kind of the equivalent of issue number 1 because of the cover with Iron Fist and Iron Man, and then here you have the Iron Fist striking the shield of Captain America. So a really cool book, and this is a perfect example, again, of what I've been talking about with this haul, which is, if you're out there in the wild and you're going to these, local shows or local cons or even LCSs, or even if you're just watching auctions, or you're buying online from like a Torpedo Comics, these are the types of books I feel like right now that the market is completely not looking at. And if you can find really, really good deals on those books, you can do very, very well for yourself, or you can just, add, nice books to your collection on the cheap right now. All right, last little book is kind of one that was hot for a little bit, kind of a minor spec right here. But this one right here is Fantastic Four Annual number 5, first appearance of Psycho Man, first solo Silver Surfer story. And a pretty cool book overall. I've had this one a couple times. Obviously, I already got another copy in my Fantastic Four collection that I just picked up. But I just decided that, hey, for $10, the price is right again for a book like this, because you never really know with a character like Psycho Man. And take this from me, I have heard some things about Psycho Man. I mean, he is somebody who, has a lot to do with the quantum realm and things like that. So you never know with characters like this, but also being that it is the first solo series for the Silver Surfer, and it is in the Fantastic Four run. We talk about on the swag sale how books that are associated to titles like Amazing Spider-Man or Fantastic Four are always going to get that extra little collector boost, in terms of their floor values, simply due to the fact that people, outside of the spec, outside of the first appearances, people just want them to finish out their run. So I always like a book like that, even if Psycho Man never actually shows up in the MCU or whatever, any kind of movie, people are still going to want that to round out their collection. Well, that's all I got for this video. That was me showing off my comic book haul at the local con. I feel like now is a great time to hunt and look for a lot of these types of keys, the secondary tier of first appearances that are out there in the Silver Age and the Bronze Age. A lot of these books kind of flying under the radar, especially at auctions, especially at local shows. People just kind of want to get rid of some of their inventory. If they can give you some equity, I think now is the time to pick up those types of books. Very, very interesting. It's not to say that, books like Wonder Man or Enchantress are ever really going to go to the moon, but I feel like if you can get them at good entry points, what is the risk overall? Shout out to 626 Con. It was a great local show. It was great to, meet people out there, talk to everyone, have great conversations. I definitely had a lot of fun, and I think I picked up a lot of good books. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Did you guys go hunting this weekend? What did you guys pick up recently? Have you been going to your local cons? Definitely get out there because there are good deals to be had. Anyways, that's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe. See you all in the next video.